Hello, I'm Kurt Lidke, Executive Director of Klamath Film, and you just watched Again and Again, a film about the lives of those at shelters as told from the caseworkers' perspectives. With us is the film's director, Court Ross. Court, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, thank you for including our film this year.
This film was really interesting as it told a perspective that is almost never relayed. We've seen plenty of films about abuse victims, drug addicts, those who seek refuge for whatever reason at shelters, but it's almost always from the perspective of the victim, not those who are caring for those in need. What made you want to tell a story from that different perspective?
Yeah, so my mom works as an advocate at a shelter for domestic violence survivors. So I've just been kind of witnessing her daily struggle for the past couple of years of trying to remain emotionally invested but not get burnt out. You know, it's a really emotionally demanding job. And it's also a field or a line of work that a lot of people don't really think about often. Like, we know domestic violence happens behind closed doors, but also like the services and resources and support are also kind of invisible in our society because they have to be in order to be confidential and safe. So, yeah, I just started talking to a lot of my mom's friends that were advocates and people that work in that world. And the main thing they always say, like, that anyone can do to help is to just talk about it and to just put it out there in the open and make it known that this is happening to so many people in our community. And that also there's resources available too, because a lot of people are in a difficult situation and don't think there's anything else that they can do, you know?
They also say write what you know or film what you know. So this isn't
Yeah.
your first film on this topic, right? You've done one previously too. Or
Yeah, I did
a
a
doc.
documentary.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did a documentary in film school because my uncle lives in a home for people that are developmentally challenged. He has Down syndrome. And yeah, I was just really interested in the people there that also show up every day that no one talks about, that, you know, these jobs that are super underpaid and underappreciated, but require so much heart and love and commitment. And I just feel like they're the real heroes of our society.
This film does an extraordinary job of showing the emotional and physical toll on those whose job it is to help others and who, you know, for lack of a better term, take everyone else's shit all day. You know,
Yep.
it's not an easy thing to endure that and then just kind of brush it off and be like, okay, next person who's having a miserable day and I get to listen to
Moving
them.
on.
And yeah, exactly. I know that's a universally untold story, something that not just caretakers, but emergency responders, doctors, nurses, police, firefighters. I've had a chance to talk to some in my line of duty to hear about kind of the different ways that they try to like hit the reset button to kind of start like, okay, next one up. Now I have to kind of, you know, wash all that off and get ready to go again. Since this has been kind of a family endeavor, you've been around it. You know, I know they're supposed to just react to the situation and not show how the work can really be a grind on their own psyche, right? But was that the goal going into writing and filming this, to really focus on how the pressure and toll can have an impact on the caretaker's perspective?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, vicarious trauma is a huge thing that advocates talk about, like just feeling traumatized simply from hearing about trauma all day. And that's mainly why I wanted to include the moment where she has the sparkly glitter jar, because they use a lot of kind of like self-care techniques or things that can give your mind a break or help you escape for a couple moments, just in order to like reset and keep going. So that's a huge thing, is self-care. And there a lot of times isn't a lot of like funding and support for self-care for advocates in these kind of jobs. So there's high turnover of employees, and only the really resilient people can stick around.
Did some of the story come from actual, I mean, obviously, you know, names protected out of,
Yeah.
you know, blah, blah, blah. But did some aspects of the story come from actual incidences that you or your family have encountered through their lines of work?
Yes. Yeah, I feel like mainly the story that I wanted to tell was about how leaving is a process and not really an event. Because most people ask survivors, like, well, why did you stay? Why didn't you just leave? And we don't often understand, like, why people go back, and that this happens all the time. Like, you'd think that someone gets the ability to stay in a shelter and they're set, they're safe, they're away from their abuser, but like constantly people choose to go back because that feels almost safer for them, which is hard for a lot of us to understand. But there's financial reasons, and people love their abusers still. You don't fall in love with an abuser at first. So I really wanted to show that aspect of it too, because it's not just this triumphant escape all of the time. It's a process, and you often can't do it alone.
Yeah. The title is very apt in that respect. So
Yeah.
I thought the actors that you got for this film, particularly the lead in this film, does an absolutely incredible job of showing that emotional toll, and yet being able to hit the reset button and move forward and the tasks at hand, whatever they may be. It's subtle in the performance because it has to be believable in the subtlety that this is what someone endures, and then it's just next thing, next incident, next problem, next thing to solve, and then wash, rinse, repeat 50 times throughout the day, and then you're going to do that the next day, and the day after that, and the day after that. How did you get this cast together? Had you worked with any of these actors previously? Because your lead in particular, I thought, was just stellar in being able to show that realism, that subtlety of the experience of what a caretaker would go through.
Thank you. Yeah, that means a lot. No, I hadn't worked with any of these actors. They're local actors in the Portland area. That I found through casting calls online. We didn't have any rehearsals. We just kind of showed up the day of and just immediately had really hard conversations about like the headspace that both of these women are in, and kind of what they're bringing to the moment. And my mom was able to be there on set as kind of like a consultant. So it was cool that Yanni, the woman who plays Regina, her and my mom just really hit it off. We're just like hanging out all day, and she was almost like checking in more with her, like as if she were the the stamp of approval of like, okay, does this feel real to you? So that was really special.
I was wondering if there was some preparation or training for the roles in how well they were portrayed, because this is the kind of thing where it would be very easy to do it poorly, of where it's overacted or overly emotional, and where the performance comes into play is in downplaying the performance and making it feel like you're actually there going through this grind, and just it's not ideal, but it's the situation you have to go. You don't have to be a caretaker if you just had a crappy day at a job at some point. You just know it all falls on you. It's kind of like in a weird abstract way, I would compare it sort of like to the film Office Space, like that comedy by Mike Judge. So sometimes that movie is therapy in of itself. Like it doesn't matter what, you don't have to work in an office, but if you just had a really miserable day at work, a bottle of wine in that movie gets you better than anyone ever will.
Yep, just gotta find a way to keep going. Yeah, I actually really relied more on their personal life experience, I guess. Like that was more so part of the audition process, is just like getting to know them and like how they related to the story. And also the actress that plays the other advocate that comes into the scene at the end, she actually was an advocate in real life at a shelter. So I thought that aspect was cool. Like she was literally drawing on her real life experiences. So yeah.
Did you film this during the pandemic, or did you manage to squeeze it in beforehand? Because we all know how difficult it is to make a film in general, much less with all of the added restrictions that come into play.
Exactly. Yeah, we filmed this at the end of 2019, and then like finished up post in 2020, and then realized, oh crap, how are we going to get anyone to see this? But I think if we had shot it during the pandemic, the story would be a little different. I think the stakes would be so much higher, because obviously now so many more people are stuck with their abusers, and resources are even more strained because more people are going through challenging times. So, yeah.
Have you had a chance to screen this anywhere? And if so, what has the audience reactions been to it?
No, this is going to be our premiere at Klamath Independent Film Festival. Yeah. So I'm excited to hear what people think and what conversations are sparked.
It's a serious film addressing a serious topic, but inevitably in the course of production, there's always fun moments. There's always bloopers or flubs. Someone can't stop giggling and ruins a take. Is there anything particularly memorable from the course of this production?
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is Hope, the actress that played Amber, who was pregnant. So many people were treating her like she was actually pregnant. It was really funny. Like, she'd be walking around and people would like hold open doors, or, you know, like she tripped at one point and everyone like audibly gasped. We were like, it's okay, it's a belly. Like, it's not, she's not really pregnant. So it's funny how like believable that can be, or like how immersed in the world everyone gets.
And I thought it was interesting. A couple of people, at least from our screeners, were a little aghast at it, but maybe that was the point. Was in the opening scene, you have a pregnant woman smoking. Was that intentional to try to maybe, you know, push a couple of triggers?
Yes, that was completely intentional, because smoking is a huge coping mechanism for survivors. You know, we take what we can get to just, you know, quick relief in the moment. Yeah, so I wanted that to be something for the audience to contemplate, like, yeah, what it takes for someone to get to that point, you know, and to also have like empathy for them.
What do you hope that people take away from watching again and again?
The big question. I hope people realize that, yeah, this isn't something, domestic violence isn't something that needs to be hidden or kept secret. It's not something that we should be ashamed of, that these stories should be told all the time. And just throughout my experience making this film, almost everyone I've met or talked to about this has some personal relationship to domestic violence, and it's way more prevalent than we think. And yeah, I just hope it encourages people to have those hard conversations with their friends and family members, or their partners even,